Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we're taking a look at this. It's called Traveler, and it's a book set in the World of Warcraft universe, and the reason we're making a video on this today is very special, so hope you'll join me on this little journey I'm going to send you guys through with this book. First things first, BlizzCon is this weekend. I'll be making another video tomorrow. Alright, so this video is uploaded on Wednesday. Another video on Thursday about dungeoneering and stuff that happened on the previous video, and then as well we'll be making predictions for what's going to happen on BlizzCon, so I'd love it if you guys would join me in that discussion. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about this book, and the reason I own this book and have this and I'm talking about this right now is because it's very special to me, and I wanted to kind of just thank Blizzard, thank everything in the universe really about this, and tell you guys a little funny story about this. So first of all, this is a children's book. It's 3 to 7, grade 3 to 7 recommended. It reads like any type of fantasy I've really ever read, though, to be honest. And I think the main reason it's a children's book is because kind of Game of Thrones has kind of like set the bar high with like sex and violence. So this is definitely like your lighthearted, low fantasy, well, I guess high fantasy because it's in the World of Warcraft universe. But anyway, the reason we're talking about this today is because I have a very interesting story about why I purchased this. When I was about the age that this was recommended for, so yeah, like 12, in like 5th grade, I think it was, we had these books, like mandatory books to read for school. We had to do these book reports, and we had to do like 5 throughout the entire year. And it was always such a struggle for me. I literally dreaded them. I hated doing it so much. It got to the point where I was waiting until like May to do all 5 that year. And I just couldn't do it. I hated doing it so much to the point that my parents were like incentivizing me. I bet that started backwards incentivizing me. Like they took my Game Boy away so I couldn't play Pokemon, right? Oh, what a mistake. Anyway, they took my Game Boy away and I had to do them. And then, I didn't do well on it. I didn't enjoy reading the books. I barely finished them and I barely did the reports, and I did not do well. Then next year they decided to try to like incentivize me by giving me like $5 for every book report I did. And yeah, it just didn't work out. Like I just literally couldn't stomach reading these books that these people were telling me I had to read. First of all, I think that was part of it. But regardless, we were really concerned because I, up until that point, had like a very normal academia. There was no issues. I had no issues reading. I had no issues spelling or anything like that. But everybody around me was very concerned. They thought that I was going to struggle in school because I could not read. I hated reading. I wasn't able to process the words, something like that. And I spoke to my English teacher about it, and she was a very wise woman. She really changed my life in a lot of ways at that age. But she recommended to me, maybe it's not that you can't read or don't like reading. Maybe it's that you don't like reading what the school is telling you to read. And I was like, it kind of like opened my eyes a little bit there, you know what I mean? I was like, maybe. And she's like, I know you have a very active imagination, and I always have. She said, why don't you try reading this? And she opened up her drawer and gave me a copy of The Hobbit. And that action, that like courtesy, that she took a time to care about her student, literally changed my entire life, right? I don't know. I probably would have discovered this anyway, but after I read The Hobbit, I realized that I was in love with fantasy as a genre, that I could live in a fantasy world universe for the rest of my life, and I would be satisfied. And that is why I am the man that I am today. Sadly, I guess, in some degree. But also, I've had, a great experience with World of Warcraft because of this. She's basically the reason I checked out World of Warcraft. It came out, it wasn't that long after that it came out. And I remember thinking that. I was like, oh my God, like a game where you could walk around in Warcraft, because I was a huge Warcraft 3 player at the time. Then they announced World of Warcraft, and I was like, dude, this is going to be amazing. So I picked it up, convinced my parents to pay for it every month. And yeah, 12 years later, unbelievable. So really a long ride. But the real reason that we're talking about this today is because at the time I had to do these book reports, and there was no fantasy literature on the book reports. But the teacher spoke to like the administration, and they allowed that I could substitute books in for, they wanted me to read these like, these great American literature books. But I wanted to read fantasy. So she allowed me to substitute books in as long as they were of like credible stock, you know, that they were long enough, they were a difficult enough read, and they would challenge me enough. So I could not find anything like this. Now, that was a major dilemma for me because I was like, I've been given this gift and now I cannot seem to carry on with it. So what I did was I had to like look up fantasy literature. And of course, it was Lord of the Rings at the time. And that was way too advanced, you know, way too advanced for me. And then there was, you know, other series, but they were also way too advanced. So what I ended up going with was the Magic the Gathering books. Now, I never really played the card game, to be fair. I owned some cards when I was young, but never played it. I just kind of just collected them. And the first book I ever purchased and read because I wanted to was a Magic the Gathering book called Mercadian Masks. And it's set place in it's like an alternate plane to the main storyline, and like the Weatherlight is the name of the boat. It's like a flying ship with the crew. Gerard and Sisay is the captain. Or they're like the two main characters of the Weatherlight story, and then they have like a silver golem, Karn. And this story was so prolific to me; it literally changed my life. It made me realize how a well-written fantasy universe could absolutely be the thing I wanted to spend the rest of my life in. And it was the first book I ever purchased and read because I wanted to. They allowed me to do the book report on it, and it completely changed my academia from like 5th through 7th grade because I was actually able to enjoy. I learned a lot about writing. I learned a lot about reading, and I got a lot of imaginative situations presented to me. So that is the reason I'm playing World of Warcraft today after 12 years, and that's the reason I own this. Because if you've ever seen the Weatherlight cover, well, it's not, that's the name of it, Mercadian Mask cover, it looks almost identical to this, which is really weird to me. It's like, it's calling to me, like I had to buy this. It's like a dark-skinned female with like a knife and a sword. That's Captain Sisay, one of the main characters. And then like a regular looking dude, like not dark-skinned, but like not light either, with a sword and like privateering gear on. I mean, that's Gerard. It literally looks exactly like this. I have it over there. I should probably have picked it up for the video, but anyway, you can check it out yourself. Very interesting that how similar these two are. So when I looked into this, I was like, dude, this is fate. I need to buy this. I need to find this, and I need to read it because I saw that they were doing this, like this kind of like children's tales in the Warcraft universe. I think they did like a Christmas one a couple months ago, last Christmas maybe. And I was trying to pirate it because I didn't want to buy it. And I realized immediately, as soon as I saw this cover, that this was going to be awesome. Like I said, it actually reads above what I expect. I think at this point, like a 7th grade reading level is actually like kind of where I'm at because I haven't read in years. You know what I mean? So it's fun. It's a nice light read. And it's set in the Warcraft universe, which is something I cannot say enough about. I love the idea. Like, I don't read the Warcraft books usually. Like, I didn't read the Arthas book, all that. I would rather read that type of stuff from a Wikipedia page, because I don't really have time to read all that, and it's not very exciting to me. But this is very exciting to me because this is not about Arthas. This is not about a main character that's driving narrative. This is about a character that's in World of Warcraft. And frankly, it reminds me a lot of classic World of Warcraft, a time where exploration was all there was, you know? You roamed around in the world, especially in Stranglethorn Vale, which is a lot of where this book is filmed. Or anyway, yeah. And then it's also in Feralus. All right, so we're going to take some pictures here. We're going to show some pictures here. So there's a map of Feralus, all right? Now, Feralus is one of my favorite classic zones. It's the first zone I start questing in. I grind 1 to 42 and then head to Feralus and do all the quests in Feralus, and you get a ton of experience. It's one of my favorite zones. It's got Dire Maul. Spend hundreds of hours in Dire Maul farming the flowers for easy gold, and it's definitely just one of my favorite zones ever. And I think Dire Maul has a place in this book as well, because I saw a picture of Dire Maul somewhere. But regardless, being set in the universe, but not containing like massive characters that shape narrative is so amazing to me. So we're going to read just a little bit for you guys here. Before we start, it's about Alamar Thorn, a clever boy who is never without his precious sketchbook. So yeah, there's actually some cool little sketches in here. We're going to show this. So like I guess these are like characters within the book here. So take a look at this. I'll show you guys a few of these because, yeah, obviously the illustrations were kind of like another main reason. Hey, it's murky. It says murky anyway. Is it murky? I don't know. I can't wait to read this, honestly, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of little fun Easter eggs based on like what they did with the movie. I have a feeling. So there's a druid. That looks awesome. So I was kind of expecting color illustrations, which, you know, it's no big deal. I guess black and white. It makes more sense because it's this kid drawing them. So there's there's Gordok. Wow, now that's cool. So a boss from Dire Maul. Very cool. I think I saw a picture of Dire Maul in here. Let's see if we can find it real quick. There's a kobold in there, one of them. Yeah, here's a picture of Dire Maul's entrance. So yeah, if you guys played Nostalrius or Classic WoW at all, you'll know that this is the entrance to Dire Maul. The head up there, and then yeah, there's the ogre standing there. You can just run by, and there's probably a couple undead mages around the corner waiting to gank you. But anyway, so yeah. Let's read a little bit here. Man, I am, like I said, I am so hyped for this. Mostly because I have such deep roots here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Hope you all enjoyed a little bit about this story as well. Let's see. We're just going to read a little bit from Chapter 2. I just want to get a feel for the book here. It's called Chapter 2, For Whom the Bell Knolls. Amazing. Descending to within a few feet of the end of the gangway, Aram jumped sideways to land on the steep, sloping beach. This was no port, but a small natural harbor on the coast of Desolus that allowed the wave strider to sail virtually up to the shore. The barrel and crates were already on the sand, flanked by Mikasa Flintwell and Aramar's father, Captain Graydon Thorne. Graydon stood a hair short of 6 feet tall. He was slim but well-muscled, with thick, dark hair and a thick, dark beard, both just beginning to gray to match the tint of his light gray eyes. The bridge of his nose zigged and zagged from being broken multiple times. But the gray eyes smiled, and the corners of his mouth curved up in concert upon Graydon, seeing his son come into view. "You ready?" he asked Aram, with a grin in his voice. "For what?" Aram responded, scowling. As usual, the more his father smiled, the less inclined Aram was to reciprocate. But for now, the captain didn't seem to notice. He smiled in earnest, turning his head and nodding up at one god, that's a character, who was watching from aboard ship. The first mate rang the ship's iron bell 3 times. Then, all eyes but Aram's turned to stare towards the forest trees that crept up to the very edge of the shore. So, amazing little excerpt there. I want to see if we can find a little bit more dialogue here. Let's see. Anyway, I love the idea here. I really do. Okay, this one's pretty good here. He crossed the deck and heard Dwan Fen call down, "I've lost sight of her, Captain." Graydon Thorne yelled up to her, "You'll see her again when she's upon us. Stay put and keep your eyes open." "Aye, aye, Captain." "Everyone, douse your lights, not a candle glowing, and keep your trap shut too. We're not going to make this any easier for those rogues." A chorus of "Aye, aye, Captains" followed, and rapidly the ship went dark. Thom whispered, "How long you figure, Captain?" 2 hours, a little less." Aram decided to make better use of the time. He retreated to the near empty hold, made his way down into darkness quietly and carefully, and slid his cutlass from his belt to practice. It was pantomime, really. He imagined enemies, imagined their moves and countered. He'd parry, attack, definitely classic, huh? And in the stale air of hold, had been the whisper man, then yes, the scoundrel would have whispered his last words on this earth. So absolutely amazing, guys. I cannot say enough about this. I am so excited to read this. Hope you guys enjoyed sharing my story. Like I said, we'll be doing BlizzCon videos this weekend. Tomorrow there'll be a video going live about BlizzCon predictions. I'd really appreciate seeing you guys there. And if you have any questions about this book, let me know. It was $10 for me on Amazon. The back of the book says it's $15. I don't know why, but I got it for $10 on Amazon. It's literally, I mean, I can't go wrong with that, man. So I can't wait to read this, and hope you guys enjoy BlizzCon coming up this weekend.